Leo, welcome. This is Crow Indigo Intuitive Tarot, and this is your November read. We are going to be using the Lion Strider Tarot, and we'll do some clarifications with the White Sage Tarot. This is a reading for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Sorry, that's a little loud. Just need to finish these up. Sun, Moon, Rising placements of Leo for the month of November. And we have a couple of questions. So it's a general reading, and that means that I'll be reading whatever energies I'm picking up. So it might not be yours. If it's not feeling like it's your reading, don't force the fit. There are many excellent readers on YouTube. You can find your November read from another reader. We are looking for some guidance for November for Leo around a couple of questions. Where is your joy is the first, and the second related question is what needs attention? And we're just asking Spirit to give us a little bit of guidance for Leo as you make your way through November. What brings you joy? Where is the path to your joy? And what parts of your world need attention right now that they're not getting? Let's just see what we have here for you, Leo. We have the Sun, the Eight of Pentacles. These are making a lot of appearances this month. Many readings have those. The Two of Swords is next. Judgment card. We have the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Cups. You're culminating here, Leo. You're starting to move toward completion of something. The Three of Swords is coming out next, and then the Magician. So let's see where we're at. The Sun is joy, fulfillment, wonderful energy in this card. And this is how you're starting out your month, Leo. You're happy. Something has you full of joy right now. So you don't have to look too hard to find your joy, right? You might be celebrating some sort of success at the end of October into November. The Eight of Pentacles is next. This tells me that you're learning some new skills. You are having some success initially, and you're starting to see consistent good effort from a good result from your efforts. This I always read as sort of an independence. You're starting to understand that you can take care of yourself, and generally I mean that in a financial way, but the Pentacles can also speak to health and time and other resources. You have enough of them. You've started to master the skills that bring you the resources you need, Leo. There is a difficult choice that needs to be made, however. This card, which I've always liked, the Falcon with his hood. You're sort of blinded to something here intentionally. You're keeping yourself from seeing something that you need to see because it is not an easy choice you need to make. You don't really want to make the choice, but there is a choice, and it won't be ignored. You can sort of keep yourself in a waiting space due to indecision right now. You may know that a choice needs to be made, but you're not making it right now. So there's a bit of a tense balance going on. But you know that decision needs to be made in November, whatever it is, because the Judgment card is following up this Two of Swords, and that tells me that you are starting to realize the decisions you make create your future. So you're not going to avoid that decision too much longer. I'm not sure what that's about, but we'll do some clarifications later. You are happy. You've had some success here in your efforts professionally, I think, and yet it has not been easy. You've been fighting very hard. You've been quite diligent. You're down but not out, essentially, is this card. You have, battered and bruised from your continually fighting your turf, but you are still standing, and you are ready to do what needs doing to see something through to completion. The Nine of Cups is a fantastic energy. This is luxury, fulfillment, success, pleasure. You're fighting for something that is quite an enjoyable experience for you. You're fighting for something that has a strong emotional weight to it. There is a happy ending that you want to see. And you feel fairly confident that you will. It's worth the effort, is how you're feeling right now. And you see that emotional victory, that success, as a way to heal what is hurting in you. Because there is a sadness here in you right now, Leo. You lost something. And you're still grieving it to some extent. But you're feeling joyful this month because you get the sense that you're on the right track to obtain this wonderful, pleasurable experience, and that you see as your savior from this hurt. The Magician is coming out next, and this pairs nicely with the Judgment card, because we were saying with the Judgment card that you're becoming aware that you make your future with every decision you make. You control your future. And that's very much what the Magician card is about as well. You see what you want and you manifest it. You have the ability to take an idea and make it a reality. And that's quite a nice space to be in. So, where is your joy? It looks like you have your joy. You have your joy in the satisfaction of working and striving toward your goal. That is quite a joyful feeling for you. That brings a joyful feeling. The hard work, that you are up to the task and you have your sights on this really nice future. So what needs your attention? I think this Two of Swords and Three of Swords is telling me a story. I was thinking you needed to make a difficult choice, but now I'm thinking perhaps you have made a difficult choice. If you haven't yet, then you very soon will. Come on, focus. And it cost you something. So I think you need to look at this hurt. Look at this sorrow. You seem quite eager, Leo, to just hide it behind obtaining this luxury, this pleasure. This reading seems to me to be saying that in your mind, whoever I'm picking up on, you feel like once you obtain that pleasure, this is just going to go away and you won't have to think about it anymore. But I don't believe that's what's going to happen here. I think what you need to pay attention to is that hurt and work your way through that sense of loss or that grief, because you have some very good things here. You have some pleasure, you have some joy, but these are not a replacement for your grief. You still need to work through the grief, though they may make it easier to do that. Let's take a look at that Sun. What is the Sun about in November for Leo? It's your card, right? The Sun, or Strength sometimes is considered your card with the Lion, but I always feel like the Sun is your card too, Leo. I do feel like you're feeling good at the beginning of November, but let's see if we can get some guidance here for Leo for November for the Sun card. You have the High Priestess. I think that you're feeling joyful because let's see if we can focus on that cat. You can see the moon on the cat's forehead. I think you're feeling joyful because you just intuitively know that things are going to be working out. You feel quite certain of this luxurious success down here. And the celebration aspect of things, you're in your mind's eye, you're seeing this fulfillment and celebration coming out of your Nine of Cups here. Let's look at the Two of Swords. I'm not going to do clarifiers on every card here, but for the Two of Swords for Leo, what do we have? We have the Four of Pentacles reversed. And that is telling me that there's a possessiveness here. You do have this difficult decision to make, or you have made this difficult decision, and it was complicated by feelings of possessiveness. There was something that you had to share, you didn't want to share. You didn't want to share it, but you discovered that it wasn't really in your control whether or not you shared. It could have been a relationship, doesn't have to be. It could have been something you thought was definitely yours, but it turned out it wasn't. And that was making that decision process a little painful for you, a little difficult. What about Judgment? Do you have any guidance, further guidance for Leo for Judgment for November? What is the guidance for Leo on the Judgment card for November? Oh. All right. I guess we'll take all of those. The Ace of Swords in reverse. This is, you know, some confusion. There's some confusion. We have Death, which is a necessary ending so that something new can come. And the Chariot. This is moving on. This is forward motion. Come on, focus. It's also sometimes, what's the word? Control, right? A sense of controlling your destiny, right? Of you choosing your path, you controlling your movement, right? The direction of your movement. So we have this confusion coming out of, confusion, chaos, coming out of a necessary change, and a sense that you are controlling your forward motion. So this is telling me that this judgment card is speaking to whatever this ending was, what this decision that needed to be made, caused you some grief. It had to do with an ending of something and you choosing a path forward for yourself. So you may have been confronted with this decision because you want to move forward, but you had thought that something was yours. A choice was yours, or a job maybe was yours, and it didn't turn out that way. It could be a relationship, like I said, but it doesn't scream relationship to me here. Let's look at the Nine of Wands. What are these battles? What are these struggles? What is the Nine of Wands for Leo in November about? What are the hard-won victories? We have the Eight of Cups in reverse. So the Eight of Cups, you know, is walking away. It's deciding, you know, discerning what is the right thing for you and moving forward and leaving some things behind in the process. But when it's reversed, it's avoiding that. It's avoiding making that choice. It's avoiding the stepping forward to leave something behind because you're afraid of losing something. So you've been fighting the same battles over and over again because you didn't want to lose something. But the Death card is telling me that it was a necessary end. You were meant to walk away from it. So this was just prolonging your pain because you weren't letting yourself listen to your intuition and move forward when you needed to let whatever it was go. That has, you know, sort of echoes back here to this sense that something was yours. You thought it was yours, but it wasn't. And you started to get possessive about it. but grasping tightly to something that isn't yours doesn't make it any more yours than it was. Let's look at the Nine of Cups. What is this luxury? Nine of Cups. Satisfaction and emotional stability, luxury, pleasure, fulfillment. What is that? The World. So the cycle completing, a new one beginning. This is fulfillment, harmony, a time of integration. Do you have any other guidance? The Hanged Man. It's a necessary sacrifice. Whatever you're sad about letting go or losing, it was necessary to let it go so that you could have this Nine of Cups world experience of fulfillment and satisfaction and pleasure. What about the Three of Swords? Do we have any elaboration on the Three of Swords for Leo? Any elaboration on the Three of Swords for Leo for November? Oh, there's a lot. All right, let's see. We have the Justice card. It's the balancing of the scales, using your head and your heart, and bringing your life back into its right balance. It's understanding cause and effect. That may help to alleviate your grief a bit, to understand that the loss was necessary here. It was something that needed to be let go. You were delaying that because you didn't want to accept that, but letting it go has brought you back into balance. There may have been an aspect of addiction here or obsession. The Devil card coming in here tells me that things were out of balance. You're feeling sad about the loss, but if the connection or the position, the job, the possession, if it was good for you at one point, it had gotten to a point where it wasn't, and it had become something somewhat toxic. I kind of dislike that word because people use it a lot lately, but it had become something kind of rotten. It wasn't holding the same positive aspect that it once had in your life. And now that you've let it go, you're starting to get yourself back to a healthier, more balanced place. The Three of Pentacles in reverse also came out in that clarification pile. And that has this sort of energy of disorganization, conflict in a group. I think you've left behind this this sort of obsessive, kind of quality around whatever this was that was causing some conflicts between you and other people, and you're really getting back to a space of balance. I'm just going to do one card on the Magician. One more clarification here for Leo, please, for November on the Magician. What is Leo manifesting in November? What is this card meant to be telling us for Leo in November? The Magician. Clarification, please, on the Magician. Sometimes I'm not getting the clarification here, but I have a clarification on the Magician. Oh, that one jumped right onto the floor. One sec. We have the Seven of Wands in reverse. Come on, focus. And that is telling me that this this manifestation this situation, whatever it was that you had to give up, that you thought was yours but wasn't yours, it kind of affected your confidence. It made you feel a little insecure in some way, and this Magician, this manifestation energy that's coming in is healing that. It's helping you get your feet back under you again. Do you have any other clarification here for Leo on the Magician, the Seven of Wands? That one flew onto the floor too, to climb under my table. With the Queen of Swords, this is a very strong energy. This is very, head over heart. It's, I think it's telling me that you're really sharp right now, and your mental energy is somewhat relentless. You are not, you're holding yourself to high ideals, but that's good because you're starting to get your confidence back. You may overcorrect. You may have been feeling a bit insecure, and you may overcompensate and become a little bit cold and cutting to other people this month. So just kind of watch for that. I think maybe that's what needs attention. You've been in a lower place. You're starting to feel great this month. You're finally moving on from what you had. A lot of pain, I think, around this realization that something wasn't yours. This holding yourself back from letting go what needed to be let go. You're definitely on the mend here. You're healing, and you're moving into this space, toward this space of fulfillment and luxury and pleasure and really wonderful things. But this success and this joy could easily put you into an overconfident space where you're kind of an asshole, pardon my language, because you're not dealing with the grieving. Even though you're moving on, this isn't something you can just tuck under the carpet and forget about. You have to process that loss. You have to process those feelings, or you might become very cold and cruel to some people in your life as an overcompensation for trying to hide that pain. So that gets kind of deep. That's just probably not gonna, be a pleasant reading for some of you. But if it resonates for you, give it some thought. Just make some space for yourself to grieve what you've lost. There's no harm in that. And then you can just be, the really positive aspects of the Queen of Swords can support you as you're manifesting the future that you want, which is quite a joyful one. Yeah, it's a pretty good read, I think. You seem to be coming out of the dark clouds a bit and into some new sunshine. We're going to pull one of these affirmator cards for you to finish the reading. They're not exactly oracle cards. They're more affirmations, but they have a bit of humor in there, and I don't know. They're not everybody's cup of tea, but I think they're funny sometimes. Let's see what we have. Confidence. Interesting, because we were just speaking of confidence and overconfidence and lack of confidence. Confidence. In this moment, I take a step back and look at myself with the pride of a good mother. I see an abundance of abilities and talents that show up all the time in big and little ways. If I could stick myself on a refrigerator, I would. I would invite all the neighbors over and say, look at that. Can you believe what an A+ that is? So this is great. You're really, Leos need their confidence. It's your strength, right? And yours was shaken, but you're getting back on the right track this month, I think. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. It's always an honor. I hope this has been helpful for you. I always welcome feedback. I hope you have a fantastic November, and we'll see you soon. Blessings.